welcome back to another episode of Into the 99, where we have 99 cards because Commander is number one. I am one of your hosts, Slothy. I am joined once more by Thunder and Sherman. Thunder, how you doing today?
I'm doing very well. It's still the same warm day it was the last time. So, yeah. And
Fair.
how are you doing?
Also pretty similar. It's still rainy, windy, fun times. Sherman, how you?
I'm still here. I'm still alive. Hey.
Well, that's the first step to success is staying around.
Yep, there you
go. We are back once more talking about more Final Fantasy spoilers. We're covering some of the uncommons today. There's a lot of these, so we're going to get right into that. But we've got to do a couple thanks first. First off, House of Cards. If you want to get any of these pretty sweet Final Fantasy cards or reprints in that art, go over there. Use code IT99. AI Armor as well has some of the best sleeves that I've ever used. Played with them for well over a year, had zero problems with them. But without further ado, let's get started. I believe it was Sherman starting us off.
Oh, all right, cool. Down with that. All right, first one we have here. We have Adelbert Steiner for 1 and a white legendary creature, human knight. It's a 2/1. It has lifelink. When Steiner gets a +1, Steiner gets a +1/+1 for each equipment you control. So I like it. I understand Voltron decks are easy to defend against and whatnot, but at the same time, it is fun to have Voltron decks from time to time, and especially ones that care about equipment, because we have a lot of fun equipment in this set.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it's worth remembering the context. This Final Fantasy set, there's a lot of equipment and the ability job select on a lot of the equipment as well, which means that that's why he's worded the way he is, where it's just equipment that you control, not equipment that's equipped to Adalbert Steiner. And I kind of felt like he would be better in the format than he has played out so far. I mean, he's really good in terms of life gain and stuff, but it's usually you put him out turn 2, then you play your first equipment, and then someone kills him. So it feels like he's a bit of like a lightning rod in a way, where he just gets knocked out quickly. And very often your opponent gets aggressive with you and you have to use him to block to try and deal with a problem. So, yeah, I mean, he's not as effective. But in Commander, I think he is really, really good in most Commander decks. Stram will love him as well, because Stram, you want to put your equipment on Stram, and then when Adalbert Steiner comes in, then now you've got a really big lifelinker on the side as well. So, for cheap as well, which is good.
Yeah. Like that's the nice thing about his ability. He doesn't have to have the equipment on him. He just gets the +1/+1 for the equipment that you control, right? And then you put the equipment on him. It's even bigger. So like a Hero's Blade, instead of it giving just a +3/+2, is more like a +4/+3 if you equip it onto him. So
yeah, it kind of reminds me of equipment version of Zank or Rochelle, where the auras give you Exalted.
Yeah. Oh, Exalted. Oh, fun. So much fun.
Yeah. Next up, we have Ambrosia Whiteheart. 1 and a white for a legendary creature bird. 2/2 flash. See, it's got flash. That's good. When Ambrosia Whiteheart enters, you may return another permanent you control to its owner's hand. So you have to control the permanent, obviously. And because Ambrosia is a chocobo, landfall, whenever land you control enters, Ambrosia Whiteheart gets +1/+0 until end of turn. Most of the time, again, flasher and user as a blocker, but you get to save something. But what she really works well with are the saga creatures, where they're about to sacrifice himself. You want extra value, return it to your hand, get to play it again. So very, very useful. And if you really need to, you could return a land to your hand. Or maybe you've played one of your adventure lands and you want to get that spell again. Or you had to play it early and didn't get the value from it. Now you can get it late game. Use Ambrosia to do that. So very versatile.
Well, I have a rules question then. So, like, hear me out here. If I'm playing the new Amonatsu, the one that has the miracle for your enchantments, okay. So because it like if you draw an enchantment at the first card, it has a miracle and reduced cost of 4 from what is the Duskmorn set,
Yeah.
right? And I play it, okay, because I cast it. Like I get the first chapter and then I start my turn because it's past the draw, and then when I put it on the second chapter, so the first 2 chapters trigger, and then I cast Ambrosia and I bounce that back to my hand or return that enchantment saga creature to my hand. Can I still cast it for its miracle cost or not?
No, I
Because it's
don't
still
think so.
technically
No.
No. It's
because
changed
it would
the
be a new
zone.
instance of a card, right?
It's changing zones there, so it's kind of like it only remembers its state when it's a permanent on the battlefield, and then when it comes back to your hand, it just forgets everything. It's the same as if it was to be exiled or whatever. It's kind
Yeah,
of
it's like a
uses like a-
different card.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Double checking, just making sure.
Yeah. The other thing to point out there is that point where you move to your main phase and the lore counter goes on the saga, you can't react to that. That's a state-based change. So you can't
Yeah.
use Ambrosia to try and bounce before that resolves because it's not respondable to. You can't respond to that.
Yeah. Fair. All right, let's move on.
Yeah, next up here we've got Ash, Princess of Dalmasca. 2 and a white for a 3/2 legendary human rebel noble. Whenever Ash attacks, look at the top 5 cards of your library. You may reveal an artifact card from among them and put it into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order.
I like that. Like
Yeah.
going 5 cards deep is quite a bit.
Mm-hmm. It
Yeah.
slots really well with dog meat or cloud from this set.
You might want to focus those builds around artifacts, equipments, that kind of thing, rather than enchantments. But
Yeah.
because like my dog meat, I've got like a bunch of ores and stuff. But yeah, she's very cool still. You can definitely see her being quite a popular commander for just any kind of artifact because at least she's not like equipment or like trying to subtype it or something. So yeah, that's very cool.
Make this a stacks commander.
No, Slothy. Artifacts. Fun artifacts.
Oh, okay.
Oh. What's gonna for some people stacks is fun though. Oh no,
the fun artifact of Winter Orb.
Meekstone?
I don't like where this is going.
Next card we have here before Thunder leaves us is Barrett Wallace for 3 in a red. It's a 4/4 legendary creature, human rebel. He has reach, and whenever Barrett attacks, it deals damage equal to the number of equipped creatures you control to defending player, which is interesting.
Yep.
So we don't care about putting all the equipment on one creature. We just like spread it out.
Yeah. So I like the vanilla card essentially for 4 mana reach. That's really good.
Mm-hmm.
Him being able to attack, I feel like he wants vigilance for this, really, but I don't know. That's just how it feels to me. Like I feel like it should have vigilance as well, but he is uncommon, so whatever. But there are cards that can create equipment, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking Toggos and that other one that every time the equipped creature hits a player, make a copy of it. Some blood, something blade, whatever. Yeah. So you kind of want that situation happening and potentially order equip situations where you don't have to pay for all the equip costs because that might get expensive, or you have things that reduce the costs so that it gets cheaper to do your equips. Then I think he can be quite effective.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Next, we did kind of touch on in the last episode, but I think I'll read again because I think we decided we were going to end the episode quite quickly after that. We didn't really get into discussions about it, but Black Waltz number 3, 2 and a black and a red for a legendary creature wizard, flying, death touch, 2/2. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, Black Waltz number 3 deals 2 damage to each opponent. So a bit of a Val Smashery situation. But for any non-creature spell, and in the context of the set, we have a lot of these little 0/1 wizards that react the same way, but only deal 1 damage. So you can go damage amplify, make copies of all these little 0/1s or whatever, and just like make as many of them as you can have. And then every time you're playing a spell, everybody's dying, and then very oppressive. So maybe not as fun as it appears, or maybe it's a lot of fun. Maybe that's your style. So
I have already built like 5 of these. This is my favorite card from the set. It's just so fun. You can do like the common spell slingery thing. You can do equipment, infect with tainted strike sort of thing. If you want to be mean, then you only have to cast 5 spells to get rid of everybody. But
Hurrah.
it's hurrah! Nice quick game.
Oh yeah, that's definitely a quick game if you're gonna do it with infect.
a little storm situation or whatever.
Mhm.
I don't know. I mean, it doesn't trigger off all the copies, but it's still just like
You can always do like buyback stuff to get extra value.
I mean, you can go the Joyra route where you do cost reduction on artifacts, and then you just cost artifacts, drawing cards, casting artifacts.
Yeah, all those little like Ichor Wellspring sort of things.
yeah, that could be pretty mean. Yeah, I like the versatility. At least it gives you options. Any card that's like, oh, you can pick whether, because it's non-creature, it could be cantrips, it could be artifacts, it could be sagas, planeswalkers, whatever. Yeah, pretty cool.
Right. Gonna go on to, oh my goodness. All right. So the next one we have, it's gonna be Sid, Timeless Artificer, for 2 and a white and a blue. The 4/4 legendary creature, Human Artificer. Artifact creatures and heroes you control get +1/+1 for each artificer you control and each artificer card in your graveyard. That's really strong already, right? A deck can have any number of cards named Sid, Timeless Artificer, and has cycle of white and a blue. So, Sid, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 15 different versions of Sid, because we went up to Final Fantasy 16 and Sid was only introduced in the second one. So we have a lot of different Sids. So, and I do appreciate this from the lore standpoint.
For a lore type question, do you run 15 in this, or do you go more like heir apparent style and have like 30?
So technically speaking, if you want to follow the lore, you would just have like the 15 in there, because like you have like a Sid in every single Final Fantasy main Final Fantasy game out there from 2 onwards, right? And he's always in a different role, right?
Yeah.
If lore wise, I would do that. If you don't care about the lore, just throw in as many as you can. That's what I would say. But who you would choose as a commander? Because like I had to look up this rules. And then people were asking, like, okay, if I had Sid as a commander and have all these other Sid, how does commander damage work? And it's like, well, you have to appoint which one is your commander, and only that one counts as commander damage. Right? So the question is, sorry?
I was just going to say, it also doesn't get around the legendary rule as well, so...
Yeah, that's true.
So, and that's another thing about it, right?
I was thinking a Sakashima partner type commander with lots of Sids in the deck, and then you just make all the Sid's artifacts.
Yeah, Sakashima Yoshimaru, maybe.
Yeah, he's a good boy.
There's even things like Mirror Gallery or whatever. Like legendaries don't matter.
Yep.
Right. So things like that, make a difference. And yeah, like they threw it in. Like you can basically choose whichever Sid you like is your favorite to be your commander, if it comes down to that. If you had to choose one of them.
Mhm.
So they're all the same card, but it's just the artwork, right? So from which series you like the most.
Yeah, it's just personal preference.
Yeah, just personal preference. Like you want like the one from number 7, where like you actually gotta like play him, and he's like an active, like one of the most active party members in your team, or do you want something else where like like he was like the kind of like the bad guy in like in 16, right? Or not 16, in 12, because like he was working for like the country that is like oppressing you and stuff like that, right? So
Mhm.
like there's so many different things, so many different kinds of lore behind all different things. We're not going to go into it because there's just too many of them. There's 15 of them, so hey.
Yeah. And the next card I actually just want to touch on is not a legendary one, just because this card is so different. I mean, I don't remember seeing something like this before. But Clash of the Icons, 1 green for sorcery, choose one or more, and it's got 3 options. Target creature you control fights, target creature and opponent controls. Fine, that's pretty standard. But it's nice because it's like you can potentially take out something. And in the format, there's a lot of death touches. You can kill something big. That's great. But it's also got remove a lore counter from target saga you control. So we've got these saga creatures that when you get to the final chapter, then it sacrifices itself or dies. So you can get an extra turn with that by using this. But this is sorcery speed, so you got to do it one in advance. And then it's got this interesting text: removing lore counters doesn't cause chapter abilities to trigger. And that's something you got to remember. Like advancing the lore counter is what triggers the chapter, not removing it. So that's pretty cool. Like I don't remember seeing that many things doing that type of ability. But it also gives you put a lore counter on target saga you control. So it's kind of like you have to resolve everything in sequence. And if you pick everything, you're getting quite a bit of value here. Because the first thing is maybe you've got a fat chocobo, he's a 4/4, you make him fight some 3/3 or smaller thing on the opponent's side, you remove something. That's great. Now you remove a counter. Maybe you only just played the fat chocobo, so you got the little tutu off it. And now you remove the counter and you put a counter onto the fat chocobo, that will trigger, giving you another little tutu. That's very cool. I really like this card. It gives you a lot of value for just 1 mana. And I was wondering, like, how am I going to use this? But I mean, it's a bit focused. You want to use it with sagas and stuff. But I think it's just too much value. I mean, you got some removal and you're going to gain some advantage. But it only targets your sagas, which is another thing. So you can't like fiddle with your opponent's sagas. It would be kind of funny if you could just tell your opponent's saga to quickly move to the last step before they're ready for it. Maybe that's something for a
But
different.
but that's the fun thing. Like depending on the colors, you can take their stuff. So let's say I'm like, we're in Civic, okay, and we do something like, I don't know, like Ray of Command. Okay, just cause, right? Ray of Command is like 3 in a blue, instant, just basically steal a creature your opponent controls. Fine, steal their saga, clash, and just have it fight one of their creatures, kill it, and then put a lore counter, put a lore counter on it, so it finishes the chapter and then remove it. So it's like a 2-for-1.
Yeah, very cool. And you get all the value, right? And they get nothing. That's cool.
Yeah.
We'll be right back.
Ever wondered what a rhythm-based stealth game with dinosaurs might look like? Or a farming sim in space with zombies? Welcome to the Gaming Blender podcast. I'm Matt, and with my co-host Scott, we take a random game genre and random game mechanics, blend them all up, and pitch wild, totally hypothetical games you've never heard of, and maybe shouldn't. New episodes every other week. Hit play and unleash your inner game dev. No coding required. Search the Gaming Blender on your favorite podcast app now.
Because you control it. You don't own it, you control it.
Yeah. I like it.
Next up here. Sorry?
No, go ahead. Go.
Next up here, we've got Cloud of Darkness. 2 black, green for a 3/3 legendary creature avatar. It's got flying and particle beam. When Cloud of Darkness enters, target creature an opponent controls gets -X/-X till end of turn, where X is the number of permanent cards in your graveyard.
Uncommon, that's not bad at all.
Yeah, I mean, it's a 3/3 flyer. In this limited format, it's pretty decent. I've seen some people saying it's a really good card. I've tried to use it and failed to get much value. But you really got to be in the mill strategy. You got to get those permanents in the graveyard to really be able to take something out. And it gets around indestructible, which is actually another thing that you shouldn't overlook, especially if you've got a 5/5 indestructible god thing that's going to cause you a lot of pain. This can get rid of it. So that's great.
Mm-hmm.
But especially if you're in draft and all the gods are like in black, and you're going to be pulling this anyway, right?
Yeah, I mean, if you're playing 5 pips on one card, you're probably not going to want to play multicolor. And
yeah, that's fair. That's fair. All right. We got a few cards to go through, but the next legendary card here we have is going to be Diamond Weapon for 7 double green legendary artifact creature in elemental. It's an 8/8. This spell costs 1 less to cast on each permanent card in your graveyard. It has reach. It better. It's big. And has immune. Prevent all combat damage that would be dealt Diamond Weapon.
Yeah, this is a very interesting one.
Card. Isn't interesting.
It's got reach, which is vital as an extra stat. But what it's actually trying to do, the way it's designed, is to just sit back as a blocker, right? It doesn't necessarily want to attack because you want to benefit from its protection. But if you're trying to win the game, you've got an 8/8 in front of you, so you're going to be like, well, screw the reach. I'm just swinging this guy. Because it can't take damage back, right? Even if your opponent's got a Death Touch, it doesn't matter. You're just going to swing it in with an 8/8. The only thing it really needs is trample. So, yeah, it's usually used as beatdown, and it gets cheaper the longer the game goes on, which is also important to remember. So, I usually see people casting it for like 5 mana. So, yeah.
That's nice. Thunder, do you see anything that you like before we go to the next one?
We can do honorable mention on the Dragoon's Lance. Again, this is one that in a limited format is actually very strong, but it could actually turn out to be quite strong in Commander as well. It's 1 and a white for an artifact equipment. It's got job select, so that creates a little 1/1 hero, and then it attaches onto the hero. The equipped creature gets +1/+0 and is a knight in addition to its other types. That's also relevant. There's a lot of things that expect you to have a knight for some reason and give you some ability or whatever. But it basically is giving that little, whatever it's equipping, jump. So the equipped creature gets flying during your turn. Its normal quick cost is 4, not great, but this card wins games. It just, that little hop over your opponents, creatures on the ground, it's very, very useful. So, yeah, it's quite a versatile little equipment. Most people are first picking this if they see it because it's like they're guaranteeing they're going to get damage in. Yeah. So, yeah, definitely worth mentioning. Do you want me to take the next one? X-Death, Void Warlock.
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
So, X-Death, Void Warlock, 1 a green and a black. I said it the wrong way around. Black and a green. Don't hate. My mind is muddling it. It's okay. Legendary creature, Spirit Warlock, 3/3. When X-Death enters, you gain 3 life. So we got 3 mana in the cost, 3 life, and he's a 3/3. I imagine he's from edition 3 from Final Fantasy. At the beginning of your end step, if there are 6 or more permanent cards in your graveyard, transform X-Death. And then he becomes Neo X-Death, Dimensions End. A legendary creature, Spirit Avatar, with Trample. His power is Star and Defense 3. your X-Death's power is equal to the number of permanents in your graveyard. So the art's pretty sick, but he basically becomes this like real sick demon-looking spirit that beats your opponents down. I love playing this guy whenever I get him. It just feels good when you play a 3-mana 3/3 and you gain 3 life, especially when you're on a lower life total.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not hard in most formats for you to end up with 6 permanents in your graveyard. So
yeah,
he's pretty strong.
Yeah, especially late game, like as the game goes on and on and on, unless someone like has graveyard hate, he's gonna get big.
Oh yeah.
And when you like trample on top of that, yeah.
Yeah, most people are going to be playing like a Golgari mill deck anyways, maybe with some dredge. So he's just going to be humongous.
Yeah, dredge. Ooh, there's a mistake.
Next,
Slothy, what next?
yeah. Next one here we got is Fang, Fearless is Sea. 2 and a black for a 2/3 legendary human warrior. Whenever one or more cards leaves your graveyard, you draw a card and lose 1 life. This ability triggers only once each turn, and melds with Vanille, Cheerful as Sea.
Oh, I love this guy. He's cool.
Yeah, I like to see the fact that they brought back meld.
Yeah.
This one as well. So, I hate the lore for this Final Fantasy. It was just so confusing. Well, because you have the Laseed, which is what they are, but like you have the. Let me see if I remember this. You have the Fel Seed, which is like the gods and everything, like like Shiva and everything that give their abilities to these people, certain people and everything, and the ones that have the abilities are called the Laseed, and the ones that like die but don't get like passed on properly or whatever, and they have like no god attached to them, they're just called seed or something like that. So, it's so confusing. It's like you have like all this stuff, and you have like the moon that's coming down at you. It's called like pulse. So it is so confusing. Like it was annoying to play the game because like you're just trying to remember all these things, but they're so similar. But I like the fact that they brought back males. So anyway.
Yeah, it's nice to have another meld creature. I think we'll see it later in the list, or maybe we saw it already. But
yeah.
If we miss it, I'll notice, and I've got this pairing, so I can read it for us later.
All right. Well, we will go on here to the next one. It's going to be Freya Crescent for a single red. It's a legendary creature, Rat Knight, that's 1/1. It has jump. During your turn, Freya has flying, and you can tap it to add a red. Spend this mana only to cast an equipment spell or activate an equipment ability. Or a mana ramp of certain type. You know what? I don't mind it. It's pretty good in my opinion.
Yeah, she plays very nicely as well. I wonder what she'd be like as a little mono red equipment commander. I mean, it would be nice to try out.
Mm-hmm.
That jump is not to be sniffed at, definitely.
Yeah, I like the fact that they have like for this set, and for any like set where they have like legendaries that are uncommon, like it's fun to play around with them. Like people have to understand, like you don't have to be super overpowered every single time you sit down to play a game of Magic. If you have a group that's very, very friendly and likes to have fun like we do, we don't focus on being powerful every single time. We're just there to have fun, and having playing with these as commanders, like these uncommon commanders, like it is really fun to try new things. So like I hope more people like look at these uncommons and be like, you know what, I'm gonna try building them just because it seems fun.
Yeah, uncommon commanders are awesome.
Yeah, some are actually very strong. They could easily be confused with a rare or a mythic, for sure. Right, I think I'm next, right?
Yeah.
Gaius Van Balezar. 2 and 2 black for a legendary creature human soldier. He's a 3/2, and when he enters, choose one. Each player sacrifices a creature token of their choice or each player sacrifices a non-token creature of their choice, or each player sacrifices an enchantment of their choice. So another one of these choice make a sacrifice type situations. So it gets around indestructible. It's symmetrical, so everybody's got to do it. But at least you get to choose. Like maybe you don't have a token, or maybe you don't have an enchantment. If you do, however, choose a non-token creature, then if he's your only creature, then he obviously dies. So just be aware of that.
Next up here, we've got Garland, Knight of Cornelia, 3/2 legendary human knight for black-red. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, surveil 1. And for 3 double black, double red, return this card from your graveyard to the battlefield transformed, activate only as a sorcery, and it flips over into Chaos the Endless, a 5/5 legendary creature demon with flying. When it dies, put it on the bottom of its owner's library.
Yeah. It's very important to point out that this isn't like the other cards. This comes from the graveyard. So there was a few other cards that when things leave the graveyard, like draw a card, that kind of stuff. It's also like if you're not paying attention in Arena, you might think, oh, he's got an ability, he can do a transform while he's on the battlefield. That's not how he works. You remove him and then he comes back. You got to exile him. He's the problem, or just get rid of him from the graveyard. So, yeah, he's actually very cheap, does a lot of work, comes back as a flyer that's a 5/5, and then he puts himself back into his owner's library. So he self-recovery. I don't know how good he is as a commander because of that. You probably will just put him in the command zone instead of on the bottom of its owner's library. But still, I mean, this is a very resilient type of card, and I can see it in the other formats doing quite a lot of work.
Yeah. In Commander, I could see him being like fun to play just because like if you're trying to go off like casting a bunch of non-creature spells so you can like surveil and load up your graveyard, I can totally see this being like really good and playable because of that. Limited, I hard to say, just 7 mana to transform it from the graveyard. That's so much. Like you lose so much tempo if someone just killed it.
Keep in mind, you have to use 2 removals to get rid of this guy. And usually you'll play him early, and then at some point, like a couple turns later, that's when he's going to get killed because you're surveilling now to gain some value.
Yeah.
Now he's in the graveyard because you've blocked with him and taken something off the battlefield, or someone's killed him. You get him back later as a 5/5. That is a big deal. He just 2-for-1s players like that, and that's why he's more expensive. And sure, maybe not every game he's going to come up, but like I said earlier, it's turning out, even in the limited format, people are hitting the mana. They're getting to 6, 7, 8 mana easily.
Fair. All right, let's go on to the next one. The next one is Garnet, Princess of Alexandria, for a green and a white legendary creature, human noble cleric with a 2/2 with lifelink. Whenever Garnet attacks, you may remove a lore counter from each of any number of sagas you control. Put a +1/+1 counter on Garnet for each lore counter removed this way. I have to say, Garnet is really strong.
She is so good. Vanilla, green, white, 2/2 lifelinker. Just that's awesome, especially in a format full of equipment. Then being able to make yourself bigger by gaining value. And remember the other thing, when you remove counters from those sagas, you don't get the triggers, right? You only get the triggers when they gain. So she's just going to absorb all of those counters, Fat Chocobo, the other Chocobo sagas, any other sagas, just take all of that. Like I play, when with her, I'll play 5 colors because I'll take every single enchantment saga I can get my hands on. And then she just gets really big, gains you a ton of life, and everybody's having a problem at that point. So she's very good.
I must jump in from the void here, guys. There's 2 illegal decks I've made from this already. Well, a few, but the 2 that I've already made in paper is Garnet, and then there's the other one coming up, the Riata. It's a really fun 3-color Saga deck that way. So fun. And then the Fang and Vanille. So I had to get in and say that this is such a cool card to play with the removing and the other counters. It's wonderful. Well, you'll see it when you get there, but I had to say that I'm building it. It's done.
That's fair.
It's already
And
done.
from the void. There you go. I have to say, my question to the listeners is are you the kind of person that would play Garnet where you're playing fun sagas, or are you the kind of person that's more degenerate where you're gonna play something like Fall of the Thrawn and just blow up everyone's land again and again and again and again and have no one play a game of Magic? Which one are you? Which one? I want to know, because that is so annoying. It's where's my swords? Where's my Path to Exile? I need them right now.
Oh man, that repeat. Oh,
yeah. Anyway, Thunder, would you like to take the next one?
Sure. Fun little guy coming up. Gyot, King of the Dwarves. A red and a white for a 1/1 double striking legendary creature, Dwarf Noble. Whenever Gyot or another dwarf you control enters, and whenever an equipment you control enters, you may discard a card. If you do, draw a card. Now, there's not that many discard payoffs in this particular set, but in Commander, you have all the discard benefits. You've got the stuff that's madness. So you could discard a card, cast it for his madness cost, that kind of thing. He is able to rummage quite far, quite deep. I see in many games, people are just equipment, they play all those little cheap equipment. So the equipment rummage, and they just get to the cards that they need to, and he's got double strike. So if you can get the equipment onto him, now he's really hitting hard. So he is going to be a fun little commander for sure.
Yeah. Next up here, we've got Gladiolus Amisatia. 4 red-green for a 6/6 legendary human warrior. When Gladiolus enters, search your library for a land card, put it on the battlefield tapped, and then shuffle. Land card, not basic. And landfall, whenever land you control enters. Another target creature you control gets +2/+2 and trample until end of turn.
Ooh, Golos. See, we should unban Golos. Golos must come back.
I agree. Golos did nothing wrong.
But I've got a more important question. Am I the only person that when I see the art on this card, I'm thinking this is Jeff Goldblum?
You know what?
Holy
when I pull it up, I can
see it until you pointed that out. I did not
Every
see
time,
that
that's what I'm thinking.
But he's tattooed though, so hey. So it's hardcore.
I love the sword though. It's very cool.
Oh man, now I can't unsee that. Thanks, Thunder. All right. The next one we have is Grahatia for 4 and a white. Legendary creature, Cat Archer, is a 3/5. Has reach. Has the elegant. Okay. Whenever one or more other creatures and artifacts you control die, draw a card. This ability triggers only once each turn. I'm down for that. I like that.
Mm-hmm. It's a little expensive at 5 mana, but it's still decent with reach. Yeah. And card
It's
draw.
free card draw if I'm playing treasures.
It's mono white card draw.
There you go.
We've needed more of that.
Oh yeah. At least he's got reach, and he's got a big butt, so he's decent. Or she. I can't tell. Is that a he? Yeah, probably a he. All right, next up, one of the cards that I actually really do like in the set. Not my favorite, but one of the ones that I prefer. Ignis Scientia. Colors green and a blue. For a legendary creature, human advisor is a 2/2. It's nothing too spectacular, but when he enters, look at the top 6 cards of your library. you may put a land card from among them onto the battlefield. Tap. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. So it's like a mini goalless effect. I like that it's a land card, so not just basic or whatever, and that's pretty cool. But he's got a very cool worded ability. I've come up with a new recipe. So colorless, a green and a blue again. Tap him. Exile target card from a graveyard. So any card from any graveyard. If a creature card was exiled this way, create a food token. So you could speculate he's like dealing with corpses or whatever. Why isn't he black? But it's food tokens, so fine. Most people just kill him when he comes up. And I'm sad about that, but at least he gains you that land value, so he ramps you a bit. He works well with the chocobos. And maybe we're speculating that when the chocobo dies, then suddenly it's chocobo sandwich.
This reminds me kind of that Delicious in Dungeon.
Oh, yeah.
A little bit.
Anime, yeah.
Yeah.
A little bit anime. I enjoyed that.
I have to say, for the Final Fantasy 15, like, he was my favorite character, not just because of, like, him, but it's just because of the amount of effort they put, the creators, like the development team, the programmers, and everything, took to make the food, and they took like pictures of it, like had someone like make the food, take pictures of it, and put it in the game, and it makes you want to cook the food. You really want to taste it. It looks so good. It's unbelievable. Like, it was my favorite part of the game. That and plus fishing, because like you're going out to fish, so you make more recipes. Like it was so good. Like, oh my god! Like I'm a foodie. I like food. Like, ask Daniel. He's seen me eat. I like to eat. I like food. So like seeing all of that delicious food really, really made me excited, and it made me enjoy the game more because of that. So, I know it's sad, but it is what it is.
Awesome.
Next up here, we've got Judge Magister Gabrynth, white and a black for a 2/2 legendary human advisor knight with menace. Whenever another creature or artifact you control dies, put a +1/+1 counter on Judge Magister Gabrynth. Goes very well with Bartolome from Ixalan.
He includes tokens, so just make treasure, like Tataru, make lots of treasure, sacrifice. Now he's a big menace beater.
Yep. I feel like he could also be fun in Marnius.
Marnius Telgar? Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. We have next one, Block Coal, or 1 in a white and a black. Legendary creature, human rogue. It's a 2/3. Has Death Touch and Lifelink. Horrible combination. When Block deals combat damage to a player, draw a card, then discard a card. The fact that it has Death Touch and Lifelink is so annoying.
Why does he have lifelink?
It's really good. Then Death Touch and First Strike, and then that's just even more annoying, right?
It's a very good card.
Let's just leave it with Glissa and never touch that ever again.
Nice. All right. Next up, we have a big boy, Omega Heartless Evolution, 5, a green and a blue for a legendary artifact creature robot. He's an 8/8 with the ability Wave Cannon. When Omega enters, for each opponent, tap up to one target non-land permanent that opponent controls. Put X stun counters on each of those permanents, and you gain X life, where X is the number of non-basic lands you control. So you have 3 opponents, you tap 3 permanent non-land permanents, put X stun counters. What's the X again? X is the number of non-basic lands. So, okay. I mean, you're going to have a lot of non-basic lands in Commander, so I guess probably like by the time you can play him, maybe 4 or 5. Ooh. There's nothing worse than having your commander stunned for 5 turns. Because it's just like, what are you going to do? It's like you can't attack, can't defend. Maybe he's got an ability that needed him to tap. Now he's useless. Oh, that can be very unpleasant.
Yeah, I have to say, like I haven't played against this commander, but I've played against like just stun counters in general. They're already really annoying. The fact that you can drop like 3 or 4 or 5 stun counters on a creature is, or one of my creatures, especially my commander, and if I'm combat focused, is so annoying. I'm gonna attack you for the rest of the game. I don't care about anyone else. So annoying. I'm going to take you out because it's not just the stun counters. It's the stun counters plus you're gaining life.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a lot.
So if I have this like in Omo, okay, once again, like Omo has like the everything counter. So you have like a bunch of things that are not like non-basics. Okay. Like you tend to play a lot of non-basic in Omo. Like and it's not uncommon to have like 10 non-basics. So I'm slapping down 10 stun counters on a bunch of permanent and I'm gaining 10 life. How is that not degenerate?
If there's 3 opponents, it'll be like 30 life, right?
How is that not degenerate?
That's a lot.
Like seriously, it's so annoying. One stun counter is already annoying.
Wait, hold on.
Sorry?
Is the wording that you just gain X life? So if it's 10, you gain 10, or is it 10 per? I think it's maybe just 10. Maybe it's not 30.
I think you just gain 10.
Okay.
For each opponent.
It's degenerate, but it's still life, right?
Yeah.
I think it goes for each opponent.
Still a lot. So like, yeah. So each opponent you put like 10 stun counters on each of those non-land permanent, and then you gain 10 life. So you want to gain 30, but like you put down like 30 stun counters, but you gain 10 life still because
it's still a lot 10. Of counters. Jeez,
it's still a lot though. It's a huge tempo swing.
I had an opponent in a draft game. There's another card in the format where it just puts like 3 stun counters or something, and he draws a card. I think he played like 5 of those in a row. But he still lost because he had nothing else. He like drew his whole library out and he had nothing else. So I just attacked him with whatever creature wasn't stunned, and I was playing an extra creature every turn. So it was just like, okay, I hit you for 1 damage. I hit you for 1 damage. I hit you for 1 damage. It was so stupid. Don't go too heavy in the stun counters, people. This is crazy.
Yeah, fair.
Moving on here, we've got Prompto Argentum. 1 red for a 2/2 legendary human scout with haste and Selfie Shot. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, if at least 4 mana was spent to cast it, create a treasure token. Meh.
He's an okay 2/2 haster, good for aggressive decks.
Yeah.
But if you're playing the aggressive decks, you don't have 4 mana spells. You're playing cheap stuff. So his second ability very rarely triggers whenever I've seen him in a deck. Maybe in the late game, there's a couple like bigger enchantment things. But again, the enchantment sagas are creatures as well. So maybe it's their big expensive equipment. So it's very hard to like tailor your deck around him, and maybe just not worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Ooh. All right. We gotta talk about the next one. I like this one. This is Queen Brawn. For 2 in red. Legendary creature, human noble, the 2/1 has prowess. But whenever Queen Brawn attacks, you create a 0/1 black wizard creature token with. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, this token deals 1 damage to each opponent. I like Queen Brawn. I think it is a fun commander. People should build it. People should try it. You're in red. You're going to be aggressive. The fact that it makes you the 0/1 black wizard creature token is phenomenal. I really, really, really enjoy this.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead, Slothy.
Oh, I was just going to say that the grip that these little 0/1 wizards has on me from this set is unreal. Every card that I've seen that makes them is awesome. Yeah, that was about it. I really like this card.
Yeah. I can see people building very cantripy decks or very pingy decks around Queen Bran. The downside she has is her toughness is actually a little bit low. And very often I've seen people play her, she stalls, and then you get maybe 1 or 2 little wizards out of it, and then she's dead. So she does have that issue of just being a bit weak. But remember, you can keep up. I know mono red players they just play attack, you know. You can hold back that little ping spell and use in response to someone trying to kill her. So you can save her like that as well. So just keep that in mind.
Yeah. I like Queen Ron. Like, I like the fact that they have her as a 2 power. I don't care about the toughness. I'm in red. I don't care. I'm gonna be aggressive. But like the fact that it's a 2 power enables me to have access to all the cards that are like, okay, this creature is unblockable if its power is 2 or less, or 3 or less, and stuff like that, right? So red's full of them. So like you have like the one commander, I can't remember her name. She does that. Like it constantly feed. You have old cards like that, like Dwarven Warrior or Dwarven Nomad, like Pathmaker Initiative or something like that from like Amonkhet. I can't remember like off the top of my head. But like you have all those cards that basically let you have like free access to attack. If not, you're in red. Lightning bolt something, just clear a path and just go in, you know, and then just like early game you build that army, and then late game just sit back with your pinger army and just cast spell like you said, cantrip free, just cast your spells, just ping everyone to death. Like I really like her for that. So it's probably gonna be like a fast game for you because you'll probably be dead real fast because you're probably gonna be the first one out. But that's beside the point. You did your thing. It's fun.
Yep. Right. Next up, we have a card that's actually quite good if you know how to use it. Quina Kugume, 2 and a green for a legendary creature Q, and it's a 2/3. If 1 or more tokens will be created under your control, those tokens plus a 1/1 green frog creature token are created instead. Then you can pay 2 and sacrifice a frog to put a +1/+1 counter on Quina. This card can get very out of control if you know what you're doing. You need to be generating things. Now, keep in mind, the equipment with Job Select, they're making a token. So that little 1/1 hero, if Quina is out and that little hero comes in, you get a frog as well. Now you can sack the frog at instant speed to make Quina bigger. And unlike Queen Bran, he's got a bigger butt, so he'll just be able to survive a lot better. And you can either be aggressive with that or you can be defensive with that. He's very versatile in that sense. I think he's very well costed, and definitely for anyone who's into frog decks, here's your frog legs served up.
Yeah, I really like this one as well. I think it's a lot of fun. Next up, we've got Quistis Trep, 2 and a blue for a 2/2 legendary human wizard with blue magic. When Questus enters, you may cast target instant or sorcery card from a graveyard, and mana of any type can be spent to cast a spell. If the spell be put into a graveyard, exile it instead.
Fun blue mage effect. I like it.
Don't be the person who doesn't read the card. You still have to pay the mana to cast the cards. So you have to pay her and whatever the mana cost of the card is that's in the graveyard.
Yeah.
That's fine. I don't care. If I have infinite mana, that expropriate is going to come back.
No, won't. Expropriate's exiled anyway.
The cool thing to point out is if you've got an X mana spell, you can pay the X still, right? It's not just like you can cast it for 2 mana. That's it. You can play your X spell as well. So she is not terrible. She's actually reasonable, and I think in standard people do get a reasonable amount of value out of her.
Yeah.
Or standard and limited.
All right. The next one is the meld card that we were talking to before with Fang. That's going to be Ragnarok Divine Deliverance. So once again, this is the meld card, so you don't need Fang and Vanilla for this. It is a legendary creature beast avatar that's a 7/6. Has, oh my goodness, Vigilant, Menace, Trample, Reach, Haste. And when Ragnarok dies, destroy target permanent and return target non-legendary permanent card from your graveyard to the battlefield. That's a lot. That is a lot.
Unbelievable card. Very, very privileged to have pulled this in non-foil, foil, and the not surge foils, but like the versioned foil with the number in the back, the Roman numerals.
Is this actually like a card, or is it like on the back of the cards?
It's two together.
Back, it's meld.
But they are cards you can just pull as like a token slot.
No, this it's the back of Vanilla and.
Oh, it just is on the back of them.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah, it's like the other meld cards. Yeah. I know. I posted a picture. That's why Daniel's asking here. I posted a picture where I've got the Plane Chase size sleeves for Plane Chase cards, and I had this bright idea because I double sleeve my Plane Chase. So I've got an inner and an outer, so I was able to put my 2 foils that are not the fancy arts in that inner sleeve together. So now I've got that big card with them melded as the front, and then I've got the 2 separate as that'll be. I mean, they can't both be the commander. Only one can be the commander, but you'll see that later.
Wrong. They can both be the commander.
I can put them. Oh, in Daniel's world.
That's the Pride Month event. You can do it all year round if you just believe enough.
There you go.
I love it. It should have been partners. But yeah, so I've got them in, so I never have to unsleeve them or turn them around or anything like that. I can just play them like that. So I'm quite proud of myself for doing that. But yeah. All right.
Oh,
next
do you want to take the next card?
Reno and Rude. 1 and a black for a legendary creature, human assassin, 2/1 menace. Whenever Reno and Rude deals combat damage to a player, exile the top card of that player's library. Then you may sacrifice another creature or artifact. If you do, you may play the exiled card this turn, and mana of any type can be spent to cast it. So the one thing, again, that a lot of people maybe miss out on is if your opponents are playing like X mana spells, then when you have these types of abilities, then generally you can't cast them because they're going to be a 0 and you get nothing. With this way of doing it, at least you get to pay the mana, but you have to remember that you're going to have to pay the mana, and you get to benefit from X mana spells as well. And he's an assassin, so he goes in the Assassin's Creed deck or the Assassin's Creed decks because you've got multiple assassin commanders there. And anywhere where you can benefit from casting from exile. So I really like this ability to just steal your opponent's stuff. I think it's very cool.
Yeah. Then we've got Riona Heartily, 3 green-white for 4 legendary human rebel warlock. When Riona enters, create Angelo, a legendary 1/1 white and green dog creature token. Set it backwards on purpose. Angelo Cannon is an ability. Whenever Riona attacks, another target creature you control gets +1/+1 until end of turn for each creature you control.
That part seems strong.
I kind of feel like she's a little overcasted in a way. I mean, it just feels like 5 men is slightly too much for her.
She's an uncommon. That's fine.
Yeah. But I mean,
Okay.
the token is really cute. I mean, I really love the artwork on Angela. So
right. The next one we have is going to be Rufus Shinra for 1 and a white and a black. Legendary creature, human noble, 2/4. Whenever Rufus attacks, if you don't control a creature named Darkstar, create Darkstar, a legendary 2/2 white and black dog creature token. So we got back to back. Hey, you know what? They should be partners, even though they're from different series.
So what I like about him is it's whenever he attacks. So he's got a big butt. He's got 4.
Mhm.
If you look at the specs, this is why I say Renault is a little overcosted here. She only generates Angelo when she enters, and then you get a 1/1. But with Rufus, you can double block a menace creature and potentially kill the menace creature and then attack again with Rufus to get Darkstar back, which I think is very neat. You're getting a lot more token generation, a lot more value. They're both uncommons. I just feel like he is a better example of the cost you should expect for a card like this. And he, I think, creates or generates far more value than Renault can. That's just how I feel. I know she also pumps something, but maybe you pumping the dog, saying that doesn't sound right. But making the dog a lot stronger and then sending him into combat. But if the dog dies, then what are you going to pump next turn? You've got nothing to target, so it's not so great.
I believe it is your turn, Thunder.
Yeah. Next is actually a very cool card. I actually like both these 2 cards. So I'll take them together. Iridia's Return, 3 and 2 green for a sorcery, and creatures you control get +3/+3 until end of turn. So if you're from my generation of Magic, you know what Overrun is. Overrun gives everything +3/+3, and then Trample. Very frequently in the current format in Limited, you can get this effect if you've got a Fat Chocobo. So if you're getting a Fat Chocobo, play 1 Iridia's Return because it's going to overrun your creatures and you're going to win the game. It wins so many games like that. I know for a fact because that's what I do, right? But also you get a choice. So now if you feel like you're not doing so well, you can also return 2 permanent cards. So it could be lands as well from your graveyard to your hand. So that way you get some value back. So Rydia's Return is actually very valuable, and it works quite well with the commander, Rydia, Summoner of Mist. Red and a green for 1/2 human shaman legendary creature. She has landfall. Whenever a land you control enters, you may discard a card. If you do, draw a card. And her other ability is summon. And this is what's very cool about her. Pay X, tap her, return target saga card with mana value X from the graveyard to the battlefield with a finality counter on it. It gains haste until end of turn. Activate only as a sorcery. So, these cards work very well with the Fat Chocobo because the Fat Chocobo is 5 mana and you get a 4/4 that creates another Chocobo and then starts giving you trample. When you've used him up and he goes to the graveyard, you can use Rydia to get it back and get another little Chocobo, and now you can start overrunning again. It's a lot of value. My friend up in Berlin, Sadie, who's actually a judge, so if I have any questions, I go ask Sadie. She built this deck with all of the saga creatures from the set. She made it very thematic and also high powered, and it looks glorious. Like all the high power fetch lands, trying to just generate so much value. Lots of little creatures that you can benefit from with some of the other cards. Like there's the owl bear that can sort of look at the top of your library, that kind of stuff. You can just get so much value like that. So very, very cool commander. I highly recommend people building around this. I mean, we definitely need more saga related commanders, and there's so many different ways to gain value out of it. It's just awesome.
Yeah, now that you say that, I kind of want to build one. I have to say though, like from a lore perspective, so we saw in Tarkir we had like the front and back of like let's say like Ugin, like you had the front face of Ugin where he's old, and then the back face where it's a baby.
Mhm.
I feel like it might have been logistical issues or they didn't think of it or they didn't do it just cause. But like in Rydia in the game, like you have like the card like you were saying before, Rydia's Return. Well, in the game, when you first get her, she's like a child, like a early teen or something like that. I can't remember her age, but you literally lose her like halfway through the game, pretty much. Like she falls off a boat and after like a major battle, and you're like, what the heck? Like she's gone. What's going on? And then you get her back, but she's older, because she's like in the land of summon. So, and because of that, like time goes differently. So she's a lot older because of that. So like when she comes back, like you see her like change because of that, and you get to go to the land of summon. But like I feel like it's a little bit of a missed opportunity that they could have done that double sided, where like you have one side where she's young, but the opposite side like she's older. So that would have been nice from a lore standpoint. But I understand if they like why they didn't, because like logistically speaking, like it might have been more difficult or whatnot, or no one really cared. So hey, you never know. But anyways,
Yeah. Next up here, we've got Shantoto, Tactician Magician. I love this card. 1 blue and a red for a 0/4 legendary dwarf wizard. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, Shantoto gets +X/+0 until end of turn, where X is the amount of mana spent to cast that spell. If X is 4 or more, draw a card.
And
So you
again,
can do.
I like Kantoto.
that X can be a literal X spell, right? So you just pump a ton of mana into like a syncopate or something, and you deny somebody something. Now Shantoto is massive.
So you
And
can
you
do
get
this
to
for
block.
3 mana. Or you can get a treasure token for casting a 4 mana spell for 2 mana.
Yeah, like Shantoto seems like a lot of fun. It's just one of those things, like and like the fact that you can draw a card from it is also like a little bit of a bonus.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, it seems like a fun commander.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I love the art and the name. It's just really cool.
A bunch of side quests. I do like the fact that they do have side quests. Where like once you finish it, like you get a benefit on the flip side. So they're all different. Like trying to suggest people check them out. They're really, really great. But we're gonna keep on going because we've been going pretty long here. So next one is gonna be Snow Bullets. For 2 and a white, legendary creature, human, rebel, monk, star in a 3. So he has Vigilant, and Snow's power is equal to the number of creatures you control. All right, simple.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
Symbol, attack, beat down.
Meanies, back.
Works well with the heroes. All right.
Yeah, with the job left.
Yeah. Next, I think, is the Emperor of Palmesia. Blue and a red for a legendary creature, human, noble, wizard, 2/2. You can tap the Emperor for a blue or a red and spend this mana only to cast a non-creature spell. And whenever you cast a non-creature spell, if at least 4 mana was spent to cast it, put a +1/+1 counter on the Emperor of Palmesia. Then if it has 3 or more +1/+1 counters on it, transform it. So again, we got a nice shenanigans type commander here. Flip side is the Lord Master of Hell. Legendary creature, demon, noble, wizard, 3/3. Starfall. Whenever the Lord Master of Hell attacks, it deals X damage to each opponent, where X is the number of non-creature, non-land cards in your graveyard. What I don't like about the spell, about this card, is that sure you put some counters on Emperor of Palmesia and then flip it. So you, at the very least, it's going to have 3 counters on it, and then you've got a 6/6. But I kind of feel like the ability should be tied into its power then, rather than the number of non-creature, non-land cards in your graveyard. It might be that you just mill yourself like half your library. I mean, there's a bunch of spells that do that, and then you just kill everybody when he attacks. It feels really strong for an uncommon. I mean, let's remember this is an uncommon.
Yeah, for uncommon, this like the flip side is really strong. Like I have to agree. Like you could take out the table in late game. depending on it with this. It's insane. I might have to build this. Crap.
Me too. Still gotta
I
do
don't
it.
have enough sleeves.
Oh,
We need to
I
bug
just
armor
bought
again.
10,000
Like, hey,
sleeves. Do you need some?
Daniel might. He keeps on building. He doesn't deconstruct. He just constructs. So
I'm in the same position. That's why I have to keep buying sleeves. uh,
Next one we've got here is Titus Blitzball Star. Actually, I've built this one too. It's quite fun. 1 white and a blue for 2/1 legendary human warrior. Whenever an artifact you control enters, put a +1/+1 counter on Titus, and whenever Titus attacks, tap target creature an opponent controls.
Slothy, you've missed a commander actually. Remember?
Did
We've
I?
got the new rule.
Oh, oh.
I'll go it. I'll do that one. That's fine. But with Titus seems strong just because like you have like bunch of like you're in white and blue, so the first thing I'm thinking of is treasures and clues.
Mm-hmm. My build of this one was kind of Titus playing with illegal equipment sort of thing.
Yeah. That seems like fun.
I
Gotta have the
saw.
Strixhaven Stadium in there too.
Oh, of course. The new art one.
Yeah. I think I saw one of the YouTubers did 7-0 with Titus.
Mm-hmm.
So trophied with no losses.
Whoa.
So very good Zorius aggressive type build, I imagine.
All right. We're gonna go back up a little bit to the Prima Vista for 4 and a blue legendary artifact vehicle. We're talking about this just because of the rules changes. So hey, so legendary artifact vehicle is a 5/3 flying. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, if at least 4 mana was spent to cast it, this becomes an artifact creature until end of turn. It has a crew of 2, which is very reasonable.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Very strong
Not
card.
bad for a vehicle.
Next to things like Shantotto and these other things that trigger when you cast something that's 4 or more, it's actually a pretty good card. I mean, it's 5/3 in the air. It's going to do a lot of damage.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. For crew of 2 is easy.
Mm-hmm. Next is Torgal, a fine hound. 1 and a green for a legendary creature wolf. So not really a hound. 2/2. 2/2 creature. And whenever you cast your first human creature spell each turn, that creature enters with an additional +1/+1 counter for each dog and or wolf you control. And you can tap Torgal to produce a mana of any color. So staple in any deck with green, I imagine, because it's a 2 mana 2/2 that produces any color mana. So nice little ramper. I really love the artwork as well. My friend really wanted one, and I pulled one in foil. So, I mean, the price is like 30 cents in Europe for the foil. So I was like, okay, you can just have it. Like, take it. It's all good. But yeah, very cool. I feel tempted to want to build around this, but I'm still thinking about it. I suppose the best would be like changelings, because then it's a human as well as a dog/wolf.
Mm-hmm.
So then they just build up each other like crazy. And I can see that getting a little out of control.
Yeah.
Yeah. Next up here, we've got Ultimacia, Time Sorceress. 3 blue and a black for a 4/5 legendary human warlock. Whenever Ultimacia enters or attacks, surveil 2. At the beginning of your end step, you may pay 4 blue, black, and exile 8 cards from your graveyard. If you do, transform Ultimacia into Ultimacia Omnipotent, a 7/7 legendary nightmare warlock with menace and time compression. When this creature transforms into Ultimacia Omnipotent, take an extra turn after this one.
That's so broken.
That's right. You better cost 8 mana.
Well, I mean, at least you have to pay like 8 mana to transform it.
8 mana and exile 8 cards.
Yeah. And exile 8 cards. Yeah. So at least there's a good.
That's quite a bit.
We bit steep.
I don't know. Like, I like Ultimacia, but at the same time, like that's a hefty price to pay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it'll end up being
Yeah.
13 mana, exile 8 cards, and it has to stick around.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
if you're doing the mill thing and you've got the mana for the first turn and you've got cards that let you flicker Ultimecia, you're basically going to be hitting people for like 7 damage, 7 commander damage multiple times, and you could have multiple turns back to back. I could see that happening. But I mean, at least you're then burning your library out, and you'd have to do that as your win con. Maybe if you can get some double strike on here, then it's more viable. But yeah.
I don't know. I have to play around with her, so we'll see. However, the next one, I can't believe I get this guy. We have Ultros, Obnoxious Octopus. He really is obnoxious in Final Fantasy VI. Oh my goodness, you have to fight him so many bloody times. He interrupts so many things. For 1 in a blue, he's a legendary creature octopus. He's a 2/1. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, if at least 4 mana was spent to cast it, tap target creature and opponent controls and put a stun counter on it. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, if at least 8 mana was spent to cast it, put 8+1/+1 counter on Ultros. Hey, you know what? I'm down for that.
Yep. I'm going to try and build, but I think it plays much nicer in formats where you have access to more colors, so like limited.
Yeah.
But the problem with limited is that the amount of times you're going to be able to cast that 8 mana spell, or the amount of spells that are able to do that, it's usually either a flashback cost or an X spell, like an 8 mana syncopate or something. It's very rare that happens. More often, it's just you putting like equipment, stun your opponent's thing, and then you hit somebody in the face, that kind of stuff. Yeah. And finally, we get to Vanille, Cheerful Usi. So this is the other part of the pairing, and to make the meld. And this is the card that you need to have as your commander, unless we're living in Daniel's world, where then you have both as your commander.
Dan's the type of guy to just have Ragnarok as the commander.
Yeah, I might as well, right? Just skip all the melding and just get straight to business. So she's 3 and a green for a 3/2 legendary creature human cleric. When she enters, mill 2 cards, then return a permanent card from your graveyard to your hand. I really liked it. Not a lot of mill, and you get a permanent, whether it's a land or whatever. That's great. I think that's very good advantage. At the beginning of your first main phase, if you own, this means that she's already been out for a turn cycle, and then now this can trigger. So at the beginning of your first main phase, if you both own and control Vanille and a creature named Fang Fearless, you may pay 3, a black, and a green. If you do, exile them and then meld them into Ragnarok Divine Deliverance. So you can't steal your opponent's other part and then try and do the meld. It's got to be yours that you own, that you started the game with. So that's important. I think cost-wise, that's reasonable. I feel like it should say partner on it, so you can at least get Fang to your hand. That's how the other partners work, right? I suppose apart from the Brazella ones, right? I think maybe they're different as well, right?
They are different, yeah.
Yeah. So, but yeah, it just feels like you kind of want to get them to your hand. It would make this more viable in limited, but maybe they don't ever want to see anyone playing a Ragnarok in limited. Maybe that's just how it is. But it's also important to remember that she says return a permanent. She doesn't say from the 2 cards that were milled, return something. It's just return a permanent from your graveyard. So you could have already discarded with like a town greeter or whatever, something already into your graveyard, and then you get them back. So maybe one day I'll succeed. I think I can do one more premium draft. If I'm lucky, I'll get Ragnarok. We'll see.
Oh, yeah.
Our penultimate commander here is Zach Fair. Single white for 0/1 legendary human soldier. Enters with a +1/+1 counter on it. You can pay 1 to sacrifice Zach Fair. Target creature you control gains indestructible until end of turn. Put Zach Fair's counters on that creature and attach equipment that was attached to Zach Fair to that creature.
Perfect costing. 2-mana creature. You know where he goes, right? All the resurrector thing, the cheap resurrector things. Yeah. He's awesome.
Right. We are down to the last card, and then we're done to spoilers for this set Final Fantasy.
Spoilers.
Yeah. This has been the longest talking about a set that we've had ever. So,
Yeah, I think,
but you know what? It's worth it.
Yeah.
All right. So we have Zidane, Tantalus Thief, for 3 and a white and a 3 and a red and a white. Legendary creature, human mutant scout. That's a 3/3. When Zidane enters, gain control of target creature an opponent controls until end of turn. Untap it, it gains lifelink and haste until end of turn. Whenever an opponent gains control of a permanent you control, you create a treasure token. This seems like an interesting commander because it's like a give and take kind of deal. And I like the concept of it. I really do.
I understand.
So
he works with Stiltskin as well. Okay. Now I get it.
Stiltskin that you can.
So let me explain. So first thing is, I got him in Surgefall and I was so excited, and then I saw he's like €1 or something in Surgefall. I was like, what? You've devalued this card. What the heck? But he's still very cool. So Stiltskin is another little Moogle dude that donates your, I think, artifacts to your opponents. So if you have Stiltskin with Zidane, then you can create treasures by donating treasures. That's silly, but I mean, it's just a thing, right? And I realize now how he works is when you've taken and you've used the thing, you then give it back, then you get the treasure. That's very neat. I like that.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. It's fun. And it's not even just like using Stillskin. Like you have things like, let's say like you use like Humble Defector, right?
Yes.
So you have the Humble Defector, you draw your card and give it to someone. You're still giving an opponent. An opponent is still gaining control of a permanent you control.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's just like, once again, like you have a bunch of stuff that's like group huggish that you're giving away. You want to give away this stuff. Like you have like stuff like that. You have like the rope from Lord of the Rings, basically does the same thing. Heck, like there's a lot of things that you can do just to give stuff away. So it's once again, I've drifted slowly to commanders that are like this, where it's all about interaction. It's all about having your play group play the game. Okay, it's like like switching out like different like removal. Instead of always playing like Path to Exile, Sword of Plowshare, playing like different things where like you promote gameplay and whatnot, right? So like, instead of like just countering a spell, I counter a spell, but you get a draw card, like sort of like with Arcane Denial kind of deal. It's a strong card, don't get me wrong, but like you're being like, okay, sure, I could just hard cast like a counter spell, but Arcane Denial at least allows us to play the game more as opposed to just shutting you down. And it's a style of play that I'm trying to embrace because I feel that it's better for the format, and stuff like this I do appreciate and I do like to play now, or more often at least. So I still have my degenerate stuff, don't get me wrong, because I am a degenerate, but I like this style.
Yeah, I think degenerate is fine in the more competitive circles, but in the casual games you want interaction.
In casual, yeah.
And I classify, like in one of the articles I talked through, like, okay, why do I classify card draw, ramp, removal as primary strategies? Draw is so that you get more spells to play, so that lets you do things. Ramp lets you cast your spells, so that's why that's important. But the removal, but it doesn't have to be specifically destroy stuff. It's more the interactive spells. That's what really makes the games fun. Is that you're involved. You can have an effect on the board state. You're not just trying to bumble along and make a bunch of tokens and hope you survive to attack someone. Being able to, in other people's turns, do things or interact with what they have, that's really what makes Commander fun and most enjoyable. So I totally agree with that.
So that is the whole set, minus the commons. We're not going over commons. I'm sorry.
Sorry, I didn't.
Sixth episode talking about Final Fantasy spoilers?
I think there's like one legendary common. There's one legendary common. But I don't think anybody really cares about us talking about because it's not a creature.
You got a point. So, from that though, all of the cards. I know we're running long. I totally get it. Quick question: what card is your number one card from the whole Final Fantasy set for each of you?
I have to pick Vincent. Just because of the nostalgia hit, but also I think his design and resiliency on the battlefield, he's just amazing. So, yeah.
For me, I'd have to say, in terms of the ones that we talked about, Black Waltz number 3. In general, I would have to say Black Mage's Rod, which is a common equipment. Basically, the Crypt creature gets +1/+0, and the Black Wizard 1 damage on non-creature effect.
That is a nice card. That is a nice one. I do like. There's so many cards in here. I love them. I love the majority of them. My penultimate favorite one of all of them, I would have to say, ooh, good golly. It might be the unit from the Commander set, where you can tap it for mana, it gives +1/+1 counters and everything, and it does a bunch of other stuff. But that one's really, really, really fun. But yeah, I really like Final Fantasy X. I like Yuna as a character. Actually she's a summoner and everything. Like, she's great. So yeah. For Daniel, I can probably see things like Kataru Taru, because that's just Rigo bait. And it's
price is going up. Tataru makes treasures and stuff, so people are starting to see that value.
Or Stillskin. Stillskin will probably be for that, but yeah. I think we're gonna wrap it up here.
Weaker, so
doesn't matter. It goes in Rigo. And he's sharing. That's all that matters. It goes in Rigo.
Daniel's about to buy 500 Stillskins. Price spike incoming. Yeah, have my 2/2s.
All right.
Yeah, have my 1/1s.
Yeah, there you go. Here's my ornithopter. Daniel, do you want to hit the outro, please? Thanks everyone once again for checking us out. If you like us, please like, share, and it helps a lot for our show and everything. It helps us get discovered and everything. And we really do appreciate it, and it helps us know that you guys actually do enjoy our content that we release. Thanks to House of Cards for being one of our sponsors. Once again, promo code IT99. Go on there, buy your cards. You can buy a lot of these uncommons that we just talked about. Get a little discount at the same time, and you'll just just enjoy this set because it's so good. Another thanks to AI Armor for their sleeve. Once again, great matte feel. Once you get them, you sleeve them up, you're just gonna love that feel and the shuffle of the cards and everything. So check them out, AI Armor. Great artwork. Have fun with them. Thunder, thanks again for joining us for this long series of episodes that we are doing for Final Fantasy. Greatly appreciate you spending the time to hang out with us and talk about these cards and sharing your knowledge and especially your draft experience with this set. So, he has a bunch of articles on our website. Go check them out. They're fantastic. And they should help you immensely in your deck building and playing of Commander. And yeah, we're just gonna let it roll. Oh, that was it? Okay.
Oh my word, that took a while.
That was too perfect.
That was fun. Thanks everybody for listening. That was great.
All right. Later.
See ya.